Hello, Grey Couch family. Welcome to Mother's Day special.
A very
A
special
very
one.
special one. I think this is the most we've had on the couch at the same time.
Yeah. Yep.
And I like to say you're in for a treat
hmm
because you really are. And we'll just jump in. We have
The Kunus, and like I was telling Stan, I said, you hear me so fangirling because I am just in so much admiration of this couple. Like we've known them for a very long time. You hear the story. But Mother's Day, we have two generations, right? Can you believe it? There's a mother and a daughter here. So that lets you know.
all right,
So
so we'll let them
introduction.
introduce
Mhm.
themselves and take it away.
Okay, who wants to go first?
The young,
Oh, I'll go first.
the
Okay.
youngest will go first. Okay, the oldest.
The oldest. Okay. So I'm Sam Kunu, and I'm happy to be on the program today. Thank you. Okay, thank you, Titu, for inviting us.
Okay, my name is Judy Kuno, and thanks for inviting me also.
Mhm.
Okay, I guess I'm Maya Kunu and I am Sam and Judy's daughter. And yeah, I am happy to be here.
All right,
Okay.
so
I could know something. You haven't done
I
that.
know you have a lot.
Okay, Maya Kunu Laditon, and I'm happy to be here.
yay! All right, so before we go any further, we want our viewers to know how long you've been married and how long you knew each other before you get married to get an idea of the timeline we're dealing with here.
Okay, again, thank you. We've been married for 32 years. So in August this year, it will be 33 years.
Wow. Wow.
And we met in 1989, about August, and then we got married in August of 1990. So it was just 1 year of courtship, and yeah, we're grateful to God for how far He's led us.
So what about Maya? How long have you been married?
Like that's always a tricky question because I had one of those marriages that was like spread over COVID. So in a way, I may have been married for like 3-4 years, and in another sense, 2 years. So
I know the COVID spread. We attended one of those, right? You get married a little bit in 2020, then you do the full wedding in 20.
exactly, yeah. I feel like my journey kind of started in 2019 and ended in 2021. So yeah.
Okay, we'll take whichever one, right? But, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so question one. We're going to start with communication.
Yep.
32 years or slash 33 years.
Going on 33.
What does authentic communication look like from your perspective? And have you already seen it that way?
Authentic communication is an appreciation of the fact that you have a partnership in marriage. Most people accept that marriage is a partnership, but implementing that is where the problem is. Most people are happy to say we're married, but they don't make the extra efforts to involve the partner in the marriage. Usually, from our experience, conflict will arise from differences in perspective, in likes and dislikes and preferences, sometimes over very little things.
Yeah.
And authentic communication helps to establish a framework that accepts that your partner has a role to play in the decision-making process. And there's no way you can involve your partner if you do not speak to each other. So there has to be a conscious, authentic communication is making a conscious effort to involve my wife, for example, Judith, in the decision-making process. Some incidents come to my mind. When we started marriage, I am sure one of the things people she may have come into marriage with was the fact that, make your husband happy, find out what makes him happy. And Judith was, oh, Sam, do you like this? Do you like that? So I said to myself one day, I'm going to die early if I continue like this. So I said to her, I said, look, you take some decisions based on your best view of things. We don't have to discuss everything. And if those decisions are not right, then I'll tell you and tell you what my view is. If you think it is very important and we need to discuss it, then we discuss it, and that is how we have lived our lives. So it has helped her to take ownership, of many things. I do not foist decisions on her. I make a conscious effort to ask her what her views are, and that has helped us a great deal.
I love it. Wow. Love it. Auntie Judy.
Yeah, like Sam said, basically that doesn't mean we agree every decision, even though he said you can make your decision, it doesn't mean my own decision, he agrees with it. So sometimes, it's like I'm going to do, but for, will I say, very major decisions, I just trust, what he says, because I believe he knows me. I can just say, look, this is what I want. But he thinks of it. So sometimes I just say, okay, I know a lot of times his own decision is the best. So a lot of times, not all the times, a lot. Because sometimes you need the decisions of, taking your decision now.
Yeah.
So sometimes I'm right, sometimes I'm wrong. But, if something really serious that you have to, think about, I agree with, with him.
I love it. I can hear trust. They haven't said the word, but I'm hearing trust. I see Maya laughing. You want to add something?
Yeah, sure. I guess when I heard the question, the first thing that came to my mind was just being respectful of the other person's perspective, and being mindful of the fact that, I guess like my dad said, like it's a partnership, both of you are coming from two different places, your views have been shaped by two different things. I think that's something that Shibomi and I have been learning for the past couple of years, just learning to trust each other's perspective and being willing to listen, because you get stuck in your ways, right? And you feel like you know how things should be done and the approach that you want to take, and sometimes you just have to pause not sometimes, you should pause to listen to your partner and what they have to say and their own input. I think something else that comes to mind for me is communication after conflict, specifically. So for me, I guess for a very long time, I wasn't like very expressive. Like I just wasn't someone who sat with my emotions and, wanted to have conversations about why I was upset, for example. And my husband, Shibomi, on the other hand, is a talker when it comes to situations like that. And I feel like it took a while for me to adjust to that, because at first I was just like, yeah, we've had this like conflict or argument and that's the end. I don't want to talk about it. When we wake up tomorrow, let's be friends. And obviously in hindsight, that sounds very like problematic, but just being willing to talk about things when they happen, just so things don't pile up and then just show up negatively in your relationship in other ways. Yeah.
Interesting. Because they say sometimes that we learn conflict resolution from our household, like the way that we grew up, right? So for me, would you say that there's something that made you that way initially? Like I feel like I've heard you say you've gone over the hump, but do you say that there was something of just, why are we, talking about something?
Right. So this is about to get spicy because my parents are here. But you know what? That's an interesting question, because when I look back at just, I guess, the first 16 years living with my parents, I feel like my parents were very open. Like they had a lot of conversations in front of us, even arguments as well. I don't think I necessarily saw how the problem solved or how they resolved those arguments, and I wasn't like privy to the conversations they had in private. So maybe from that perspective, I just didn't see that, and so I didn't know. But I knew that from my perspective, I felt like they had a healthy relationship, and it seemed like they were very open with each other. So that much I took. But in terms of I guess conflict resolution, maybe not so much, just because I just didn't see that. That happened separate from I guess my view.
Oh my God, this is high praise for your parents. I hope they know.
Well, I mean, I must say, I mean, Judith and I are the exact opposites to Maya and her husband. I'm more introverted, and Judith is more of an extrovert. So I tend not to talk a lot. I'm more reflective. But Judith, my wife, can just talk. What's in her mind, and so when there are issues, I tend to think about it. But she wants me to talk. Talk.
Mommy, what is that expression?
So I have learned to adjust.
Yeah.
Yes, I've learned to adjust and to be more involved in conversation. My reflecting over issues does not necessarily mean I'm offended, but just that I'm not very expressive. But my wife is, and over the years, learning to adapt to that style has helped us resolve a lot of issues.
I love it.
I think that's almost answered the next question, right? The next question was, what's something intentional you've had to do to improve your communication over the 32, 33 years? I'm going to keep saying that. I'm going to keep saying that.
You don't look it, right?
Yeah. And that sounds like, unless you want to sum it up into a smaller word, I guess, something intentional you've had to do over the years to improve this authentic communication.
You want to answer that first?
Okay, what I'll say is that I believe I have slowed down over the years, because if you're the jumpy type and the person you are with is just quiet and everything you say, just, because I'll tell you something, when we got married, I was, and I moved to Ibadan because I was in Lagos. I grew up in Lagos and I moved to Ibadan. Ibadan seemed such a slow town for me. And I was like, what kind of place is this? So I used to go to Lagos. Every Friday from work, I go to Lagos. And I come back maybe on Sunday or on Monday. And I go straight to work. And for me, I reflect back now. And I'm like, did I really do all that? How can you get married and you say, this place is too slow, and you take off and you leave your husband and you go and party, play in Lagos and come back, And then a lot of times I look at my life and I know for sure the grace of God is the lot, the grace of God. So, and I'm like, and then, he would just say, you will soon get tired. He would say, don't go. He would say, don't go. So, but, gradually I started reducing my trips to Lagos. There's just that thing that nobody needs to tell you.
Yeah.
The time you just know that, you're just overstepping. So even though I'm a jumpy person, just gradually, over the years, and these days, I just need a look, one look. And I behave myself. Let me put it that way. So,
Mom, I do have to throw in that you're back in Lagos right now. So 32 years later,
But I haven't been to Lagos since January, which is,
I mean, I'm not saying no, there's nothing wrong. I'm just saying,
which is a long time compared to every weekend.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I mean, I'd say yes.
Sorry, Judith. I want to say that these days now, my trips are shorter because it's only two of us. It's only two of us at home. So when I'm leaving, I'm thinking about him. I'm leaving only him at home now. So
yeah,
I guess that one comes with age, and we are friends actually now. So when I leave Lagos, for Lagos, I miss him. So I use my
We are going to circle back to both of you being alone now, because there was a time when there were so many people in your house.
Wait,
We'll get there.
pause. Let's not get too ahead of ourselves.
Well, I was going to say that over the years, I have learned to listen more also. I've learned to listen more also. Now, it's not every subject that my wife is interested in that I have interest in, you know. But if she expresses interest in a subject and I'm not interested, I find out that it just ticks her off, you know. So I have learned to listen attentively, even when I don't know the subject or want to contribute, you know, and also to contribute to the best of my ability. So that keeps our communication going, you know. If she talks and she said, "Oh, isn't it you I'm talking to?" I said, "I'm listening." So I don't want you to listen. I want you to contribute, you know. So I've learned that has improved over the years. Yes.
All right. For the next question, we're talking about money and finances. And since I am not the saver of this, I'm going to let Otito ask the question.
Okay. So the question here is, what would you say to your younger selves about money, marriage, right? Is there anything that you know now that if you knew then would have saved you a lot of trouble?
Well, I mean, marriage is a very topical issue. Money is a topical issue in marriage. We get married in the hope that we can live better lives. We want to become more comfortable. We want to have more material comfort and emotional comfort and spiritual support also. And some of that boils down to the disposable income we have in reality. And what I would say that I wish I implemented earlier is planning together financially. Yes. Both parties may not have the same level of contribution to the financial well-being of the home, but whatever is available ought to be known by both parties, and that way both parties are involved in the planning process. And I think that is something I would recommend. And secondly, I wish I had discussed certain financial investments with my wife at the time I did them. Especially those ones that went south, you know. She may not have been a financial expert, but I know women have more intuition than men. And sometimes it's just a nod or, "Oh no, I think you should hold on here." So the first is planning together financially so that both parties know what is available. There are no assumptions, you know, which is where conflict arises, you know. I want a better life, but if we can't afford it now, maybe we can afford it later. And on the basis of what we have now, this is what we should do and this is what we should not do. And secondly, if every major financial decision I have taken, for some of them I have not involved my wife, and some of those have gone south. And I think I should have involved her in those, and it would have saved me some losses.
Wow, so much wisdom dropping, so much. What about from it's Judy?
See, Maya is laughing. When it comes to finances, you know, and what I'm about to say now might not be practical for this age or for this 30, or you know, it might not be, you know, I don't know what is expected. But me, I'm a very, when it comes to money, I'm a very traditional person. And as far as I'm concerned, money must come from the head of the house, who is my husband. So he takes care of everything. His money is our money. My money is my money. So I said, you might not agree, but I always stand by. He who finds a wife finds a good thing and obtains favor from God. Because you have found, you can't suffer.
Shanda.
So whatever it is that you need, and whatever you have is mine. And I know that God will bless you because I have brought favor to you. I stand by it. My mom told me that.
Amen.
So that's something I hold on to.
Amen.
And so when he's blessed, I'm blessed.
Yeah.
I don't want to have more money than him. I cannot vouch. I cannot tell myself that I'll be humble. Since I have no control over that, I would like to look up to him and still tell him, okay, it's this one, it's this one, it's this one. And I will support him, whatever way I can. But I cannot be the sole provider. I can't.
Mom, lift up your camera.
That's true.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Maya, Jen, what's your Maya said?
I mean, first of all, thank you for being honest, both of you. I feel like my parents have a financial relationship that works for them. I'm happy that my dad kind of spoke to the things that they could have done differently in hindsight. I mean, my mom kind of like joked around with the question, but I think at other times she has also expressed things that maybe she would have wanted to do differently as well. From my own perspective, I'd say Shiwomi and I have a different financial relationship than my parents. That may also evolve, but right now we have a different financial relationship. But also, both of us live, I guess it's 2023. We both live abroad. And so it feels like there has to be, like both of us have to be active contributors to whatever our financial situation is, because that's just what the lifestyle in this part of the world demands of you. But I'd say also, my mom also, and again, like Mom, you thought I was laughing, I really wasn't. You stand firm in your belief that, you enjoy my dad being the sole provider. And like I said, that works for you, both of you. Like for me, something I wanted for my own self personally was to, what's a good way to phrase this? So I wanted a slightly different arrangement, not because it didn't work with my parents, but just for my own self personally. And I don't know, you also like hear stories growing up, and even if those stories, you're not seeing those things play out in your parents, you're just kind of like, what if, it probably makes a lot of sense for me to just, like have a bit of my own, so to say. And so from that perspective, I always wanted to do things slightly different. And I guess it works for us right now.
Yeah.
And I'm not mad about it.
Oh, I love it.
As they say, you find out what works for you and what keeps you happy and fulfilled in marriage, and pursue that arrangement. Every marriage is different.
Right.
Yeah.
We'll jump to this one.
Yep.
Okay. Thanks for the authenticity. I really appreciate it. We're just getting bucket loads of nuggets.
Yep.
All right. So next we're moving to sex. There's a lot of misinformation and confusion about sex in marriage. How important would you say sex is in the marriage?
After 32 years.
After 32 years. Well,
just pretend I'm an adult that you don't know.
I love it.
Yes. Sex is an important part of marriage. I was just reading an article now in the Economist, that says sex wrecks lives, in marriage. This morning,
Wrecks lives.
Wrecks can wreck lives in marriage. Yes, yes. And sex is like shall we say, something that needs to be there. You in marriage, you want to know you when you can have it when you want to have it. It's difficult to put your finger on it, but there's a feel-good factor about it. What scientists they say is endorphins. They call brings endorphins. There's a feel-good factor about it. And when it's not there, you feel there is a deprivation of some sort.
Yeah.
You may not be able, there's no substantive issue, but there's a cranky feeling in relationships. So it's a lubricant that just brings relationships together. So it is important in marriage, even after 32 years or I don't know how long, 40, 50 years, I think it's important. So it's the feeling that it is there, it cements relationships, emotional cement, that's how I put it, you know. And if it's not there, it just feels like there's something wrong with the relationship, you know. Yes.
Mom?
Yes, totally agree. I agree with what Sam has said. And for us, I mean, it's not, even though, you know, it's like, say 32 years and it looks like for you, it's a long time. It's not so long, really.
Yeah.
We're still the same people.
Yeah.
We're still the same people. And now it's only two of us at home. So that's why you need to be friends with your spouse. So, I mean, it's important. Let me put it that way.
Okay. Jen, next.
Maybe I'll just like skip on this one, you know. Pass. Yeah. My parents have spoken. They said it with the straightest face. You would think you're asking them about world politics.
Okay. So a little bit, I don't want to say darker here, but one of our viewers privately had asked us our thoughts on infidelity. And there's questions specific like, can a marriage survive after that? So my question to you guys is, if yes, what would you say must be in play for the marriage to survive? And if no, what would you say are some signs that, you know, they've crossed the Rubicon and there's no return?